Alright, so I'm going to be going over some good, consistent, and some inconsistent parries for Fury. This is a good, consistent parry. When I just did the breakdancing move with Balrog in kick mode, very consistent. As you can see, obviously it parried him. Like, he had no choice but to be parried, like I was moving too fast. But, you know, also there's this backwards backflip. It parries pretty decently. I think it might have some iframes, I'm not entirely certain. It would be inconsistent if you ask me, because I'm not sure of that. But there's the jabs. The jabs are also inconsistent because they're not continuous. You have to mash them, and there's like a small point in time where Fury can get through, as you guys could just see right there. Let's see, what else do we have in this clip with the Balrog? Oh yeah, the sways. The sways are really good because, like you just seen right there, that wasn't actually an accident when I did it, but you know, I could still punish him with kick mode and like uppercut him. Or I could just move all around this motherfucker and get my hit count up and possibly dizzy him, because if you hit an enemy enough with the Balrog gauntlets when they're in blow mode, you can actually dizzy them. Like that right there. That big flash meant he was dizzy. Yes, sir. I'm trying to remember what I did in this clip here. More swing. Yep. Looks like I was just giving an example of like how swing is just like a really good countermeasure. And I think this is also an example of, no, I was just beating his ass. There should be an example of me like showing how inconsistent like jabbing is. Like that right there. The hitbox is increased when, you know, you're ignited, but you're still not exempt from being attacked. Like, I got him there, but when he comes from above, there's not much I can do about that. Real quick, I didn't include Royal Revenge because duh. So, moving on to Cerberus. As you can see, Revolution works perfectly fine against Fury. And not only does the Ice Revolution work, but the electric version of Revolution works as well. The only thing is you will have to time the lightning version a little bit better because it has a slower startup and it can whiff pretty bad. Well, they both can whiff pretty bad, but for some reason the lightning version whiffs super bad. So I would just be wary of that. The Cerberus actually has a ton of ways to parry and stave off Fury. Is really cool. Yep, as you can see right there. And each time I hit him with the first and final hit, I believe, with that version of Revolution, the electric version, I believe he's closer to being dizzy. So yeah, it's definitely an asset when fighting this guy. Look, he's dizzy right now. And that'll just allow me to do combos to him, which this wasn't a very good combo. This is on Dante Must Die for some reason. But again, great parry. So I forget the name of this move, but basically you just hold the style button when you have Cerberus and you have Sword Master as your style. And it's basically a fucking auto parry. Like, I could not get the timing wrong when I was practicing. I can't get the timing wrong in game either. It just seems to knock everything back, which is supposed to do. That's what it says in this description. And it just parries with ease. Look at that. Easy. And I think it's dizzying him at the same time. With this move, you gotta be in Sword Master. You have to lock on and hold back and hit the style button. And you do this move, which is an inconsistent parry, but it's very stylish looking when you do parry. Like, it's hard to get the timing wrong, but it is possible to get it wrong. Yeah, he just parries him and he's just out of range. And I don't think you can actually cancel that with Royal Guard. So if you're feeling zesty and they're close, go ahead and do it. This next one is obvious. You lock on, hold back to forward, then melee, and it parries everything. It parries everything. It keeps you from being damaged. There's no way he can breach through that defense no matter what. And you stop pretty quickly. Now, you can do this at any time, I suggest it, but the only reason I wouldn't is because it's hard to keep track of Fury when he starts teleporting. So yeah, Anyway, I believe we moved on to Cavalier Angelo, which is definitely the most inconsistent out of all of them. And what I just hit was the style button with Swordmaster turned on, and you have to time that very strictly. You have to like make sure you have enough time to react and go forward, but you can get a decent punish off of it. Okay, so the next move I'm going to show you is the lock on back to forward melee attack that Cavalier Angelo has. And it's really good. Like, it's the most consistent parry that I have seen with this weapon. But the thing about it is you have to be very proactive with it. You can't just like wait for Fury to teleport. You actually have to do it when he's starting up, so you have enough time to actually activate the move. Now, I don't know what else you can get off of it because I don't play with Cavalier that much, but I'm going to start practicing. And that's the stinger type move that Cavalier Angelo R has. And it's inconsistent as well. I have only seen it work, or it's only worked for me when I know that the Fury is gonna like stab straight at me from afar. So it's very inconsistent, but it does look stylish, and as you can see, you can jump cancel it. So you can get some major cool shit off with that. Next we have Rebellion, Sparta, and Double Sword Dante, because they all have prop shredder in one way or another. Double Sword Dante is my favorite out of all three swords because it is Dante's. But definitely I recommend doing prop shredder with Rebellion and Sparta because there's a button for that, and you have to do a pause combo in order to do prop shredder with Double Sword Dante. Obviously, as you guys can see, no matter where Fury goes, the Double Sword Sparta will follow because prop shredder is just made like that, and it's awesome. This kind of looks cool. So you can parry with Million Stab, but you have to be wary on like what move is coming out. Like if Fury actually does a move where he comes from above, you might get hit because the tracking isn't that good with Million Stab, but it does look kind of cool when you parry with Million Stab. So yeah, use that at your leisure. By the way, a Helmbreaker is definitely a good parry, but be careful because if you're in the air to do Helmbreaker prematurely, he might strike above you and that might actually go through it. But here's Rawhide with Nero, which, you know, Rawhide is like top 3 double breaker for me, if not already #1, because it feels the most like a individual weapon. But it's pretty consistent. Just make sure you start it on time and get the timing right. You could try mashing, but there's always room for error with that. What I try and do is like make sure I know what move he's going to do and prematurely start before he appears again. And as you can see here, you get a cool combo off of it. Look at that. Bam. Dead. S rank. Really hard to do that with Dante, getting an S rank on a dying Fury. And here's Ragtime, which of course obviously dodge, do the break age, and there's not a single fucking thing that Fury can do about it. Just kill him to death. Look at that. It looks so fucking cool. Alright, that's the end of the video.